Hi, I'm Borin.
And I'm Ashley.
And we are the Doulos Clan. Hey Clan, we have a very special video for you. This is our year-end update recap, and we're super excited to get into it with you.
Yes, and we just want to thank you so much for your prayers and just being on the journey with us, and also your financial support.
Yeah, this year we couldn't have done it without you, and we're excited to look back on what the Lord has done and tell you what we have going forward. We also have a very special announcement, something we haven't said publicly yet, but you'll have to stay tuned for that. So just a little quick intro about us if you don't know who we are. Again, I'm Borin, this is my wife Ashley, and we personally do ministry in partnership with a couple of other ministries here in the Kansas City area. I myself have been on staff at the International House of Prayer in Kansas City, where we sing and play instruments 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
And I am a part of a nonprofit called Rended Heart, where we help women who have been sexually exploited, and we meet them in their crisis.
It's a pretty powerful ministry that Rended Heart's doing. And IHOPKC and Rended Heart, they are not associated with one another. We have our own ministry, Borin and Ashley Doulos, and those are two outlets that we help further the work of the kingdom with the gifts and abilities and connections that God has given us.
Yes, and our vision has been serving Jesus through full-time worship and prayer, edifying the body, and ministering to the broken. And so that's what we've had the opportunity to do this past year. How about we tell them our major milestones for this past year?
We've got some pretty cool ones. I'll start with some of the stuff that the Lord was able to do through music with me this year. It was actually a pretty busy musical year when I look back. IHOPKC has a branch of music that they call Unceasing Worship, and they're live clips, live segments from the prayer room that they take and then release albums of it. And I was featured on a few of them this year, including a song titled Yeshua on the Yeshua Unceasing Worship album. And also there was an album titled Seasons, in which a song that was birthed out of my current health battle, I sang out of that place, and the song itself is called Healing. I also got to partner with a ministry that does a lot of work in the Middle East and also does a lot of kind of artistic work called FAI Studios. I got to do some background vocals for one of their recent albums that they released titled Ballads of the Songs of Solomon. And I also got to release my own instrumental acoustic guitar album, which was the first of that nature. And so those are kind of some of the major milestones for me personally in music this year. So what about you and Rended Heart? What did you guys accomplish this year?
Yeah, so Rended Heart answered over 600 calls on our hotline number, and these calls came from women who were expressing that they have been trafficked and sexually exploited. We also helped over 100 women find safe housing in their situation. And so Rended Heart has their own crisis house, and we personally house some of those as well.
Another milestone that I feel like the Lord gave us this year was I got to do a little bit of coaching with young people in the area of music, singers, musicians who are growing in their abilities and wanting to use their giftings for the kingdom. I've been able to do this off and on throughout the past several years, and so I got to do a little bit of work with the university here to coach people who specifically want to sing and play music in a worship context for Jesus.
Another fun highlight for this past year was we got to go to Alaska for the summer, and it definitely was not in our radar. However, it was totally on God's. And in that, we were given many ministry opportunities where we connected with different pastors and leaders of communities and given opportunities to help lead worship, preach, and also minister to broken people and in different communities, one of them being an Alaskan Native village, which was such an amazing experience and a blessing to be used by God for those things.
So we wanted to tell you a couple of very impactful stories that impacted us this past year as we saw God's hand at work in our lives And, honestly, this has been both an extremely challenging year in so many areas. It's also just been a year of incredible miracles and divine guidance. So it's hard to condense our stories into two, but the one for me that recurred a lot was I just kept finding myself in the right place and the right time to minister to somebody who God had been highlighting himself to. One example of that is a friend, I'm not going to name his first name, but a young man that while we were in Alaska, we were on a hike with some local friends that we had met, and we happened to be taking a break when these BMX riders, people riding bikes through the mountains, came by and stopped at a rest as well. And so we got to talking for just a minute. And then as they left, I ended up getting a video of this young man jumping off of a ramp on his bike. So fast forward a couple of weeks, we're on another hike in a different area with different people. And I'm walking with a different young man that we'd become friends with. We're talking about the end times, and we're talking about the millennial reign. We're talking about the book of Isaiah. And as we're walking down, I see out of the corner of my eye, I hadn't really looked at him, but there's this biker who's stopped. He's got his bike stopped, and he's looking on the ground like this. And I realized just out of the corner of my eye, he must have dropped something. And I look over and I said, "Hey, do you need help finding something?" And he looked up, and right then we both, as we made eye contact, we realized that's the guy that made that jump that I got the video of. He recognized me, I recognized him. I'm like, "Whoa, it's crazy seeing you here." So basically, I get his contact info. I'm like, "Dude, we have to talk." And I will say this, his last name is Hear, as in hearing. And I made a joke. I said, "Oh, almost like you have ears to hear." And he kind of laughed, and I could tell he may not be a believer, but I felt the Holy Spirit highlighting to me. So I get his contact info, and a little bit later we're talking, and he goes, "Hey, I've been having a really unique thing where I just feel like God is calling me. And I felt like we should have met the other day. And then whenever we crossed paths again, what had happened was the link to my chain in my bike had broken off and I couldn't find it. And I got this phrase put in my mind that faith is the missing link in my life. And then I saw you again." That's what he said to me. So we got together. We ended up talking. Well, we talked over the course of time over text and call, and then we got together for hours. And I got to hear just how the Lord had been orchestrating his life leading up to that moment. He's from the lower 48. He just happened to be up in Alaska for that summer, just like we were. And all of those things, there's this whole unique story that God had been putting together in his life that landed to me being there at the right time with the right things to say. And he truly was a person whose ears were ready to hear. And he's got an amazing testimony of how God this year had been revealing himself to this person. And now this person's heart was ready to receive the fullness of the gospel and begin changing his life to walk with Christ.
That's amazing. It's incredible. So a highlight for me this past year was a hospital visit that I did. And we got a call on the crisis hotline number. And turns out it's a hospital that ends up being around 40 minutes away, which I wasn't expecting that. But I was asked to go on this visit, and so I took it up.
And so you get a call from a woman in a hospital, and what do you do with that?
Yes, so essentially we're connected with hospitals and police force and different avenues of that nature, where when a woman comes to them expressing that they've been sexually exploited and trafficked or in prostitution, then they connect them with us, where we then serve as one of their advocates. So I got this call, and I was asked to go meet her at the hospital that she was at. And so with all that, all the nature of getting all the details, meeting specific nurses, so I go in through the emergency section of the hospital. In those moments, it can be easy to feel inadequate. It can be easy to feel like I'm so not equipped for this in terms of just my personal experiences. But in those moments, the Holy Spirit reminds me that it's not about what I'm capable of doing. It's about what He's capable of doing. And with Him, there's endless possibilities, and I don't have to understand everything, but I can just be just in him, and he will move through me. So I often really have to remind myself of those things, because it can get overwhelming if you don't. And so in the hospital, I go in and I'm praying and just asking Holy Spirit, give me the words to say, give me the ears to hear, and that sort of thing. So I eventually meet with her, and the look on a woman's face that is in pain or in despair honestly just never gets old. And even though every woman's story is different, just what you see just doesn't ever get old. You don't know how long the history has been, you don't know the story, and it just really does touch you. And so essentially, I invite her to a private place to chat, and we do an intake process. After our conversation and meeting with her, I then, she actually admitted to me that she believes in God, and it's actually an encouragement to hear someone say they believe in God, even though they've gone through so much trauma. And, but yes, she believed in God. And so then I basically was like, okay, like, would you be okay if I pray with you? And so I grabbed her hands and I just started praying with her and just really asking for the peace of God to come over her. And, something I prayed also too was just that her sleep would be sweet, and that, no nightmares could come and torment her and those things like that. And so I just started praying with her and really wanted her to experience the love of God and know that he sees her and that he's intentional and that he is weeping over her story and over the things that she has gone through. And so I get done praying over her, and she just looks up and she's just like, thank you so much. And something that she said that actually isn't uncommon that I've heard other women say is, wow, you're just so awesome. You're just so, like, they're like looking at me as if I'm something super special. But in that moment, I get to say, no, it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with Jesus, who loves you, and how I'm being obedient in doing this, but it's not because of me. It has nothing to do with what I can offer you, but it has everything to do with how Jesus sees you, and he notices you, and you're not ignored by him. Those are actually one of my favorite things to do with helping women, is meeting them in their crisis, because in those places, they just have so much heaviness over them, and it feels like darkness just won't go away. But I'm just so thankful that I actually can be a beacon of light because of Jesus, because of who lives in me, and how there is hope in their story, and that they're not labeled and just always that way. They're not just, their life isn't doomed, but that there is hope. There is hope for change and hope for a future for them. So how about you tell us about a significant event that happened this year?
Sure. So there is a thing that we did back in May as a community at IHOPKC that the Lord really breathed on and made a global thing. Millions of people across the world partnered in with this, and thousands of people came from all over the world to IHOPKC here in Kansas City to partner with it. And that was, we took 21 days to pray out of Isaiah 62 for the nation of Israel, specifically that the people, the Jewish people, would know their Messiah. And it was an amazing time. God was clearly breathing on it. As far as intercession goes, I had some of the deepest experiences of the love of God reaching deep within me for what the Bible would refer to as our older brother in Israel. And it was just a tremendous time seeing so many people unified on this one thing and just digging in to see our older brother restored to the family under Christ. And another cool thing about it was with all those people that were coming into town, we made some pretty cool friends. Yes,
we made some pretty cool friends. One actually both of them being from Israel. One was Jewish and one was Arab. And we just had the opportunity to get to know them and actually meet up with them for a time of prayer. And Man, it was just incredible. Their hearts for the Lord.
Their hearts for each other as Arabs and Jews that love Jesus.
And in that experience for me, I was just honestly just being so blown away, because here are these two individuals representing different people groups who have been at war with each other for so many years, for so many centuries. But here they are who love Jesus and love each other, and how there's that reminder of the only way for love to permeate between those two nations is by the love of Jesus. And it was just amazing to see that and how they really minister to us.
Now, we'd love to hear from you about what we just shared that ministered to you. What things stuck out to you? We love sharing testimony, and we'd love to hear how it encouraged you. So go ahead and type that in the comments and let us know. We love to dialogue with you on the Doulos Clan YouTube channel. So we have had a couple of challenges this year that we want to highlight. You know, there's always like some day-to-day minutia, but then there are sometimes big challenges that the Lord allows to come into our as obstacles so that our faith and our character and our integrity can be refined. And we've definitely had a couple this year.
Yeah, so one of them being Borin and his health journey. It has been going on 2.5 to 3 years already. And first, I just want to say, babe, you have been just incredible. I know the day-to-day that it's been super tough, and he's on a really strict diet and really strict on things on what he can have. And he has suffered long, honestly, and it has actually been an inspiration to me. Just seeing people enjoy foods and all the things, and you being stuck in your only few things that you can have. But I just want to say it has been really, really tough for him. But I have seen him really lean into the Lord about it, and just talk to the Lord about it, conversate with the Lord about it, and how it has truly grown you in so many ways.
Well, I definitely was given tremendous help by the Lord in you. So thanks, babe. It's definitely been a challenge, and but it's a day-to-day thing. We're still contending for full healing, while also practicing the mix a little wine with your water, Timothy, kind of approach. So on that, another challenge that we face, and actually there are quite a few new subscribers here on the YouTube channel that have come to see our channel due to this current thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And that is the ongoing investigation against the leader of IHOPKC, Mike Bickle. There have been allegations of sexual abuse and ministry, spiritual abuse that have been brought against him. And as we've stated before, we aren't really a source of information. We're not close with anybody that's in the investigations or on any side of it. Even with regards to Mike Bickle specifically, we've had a total of 5 or 6 conversations that have all been 30 seconds or less. So we don't really have anything that we know other than what is being posted publicly. There's statements from the side bringing the allegations. There's statements from the leadership team at IHOPKC. And so we're not really going to get into what they say, but that's all available for you to see. We have just been incredibly challenged in our personal walk with God. There's a lot of things flying around, and really what we have had to contend with is, well, we have clarity on what God has said to us. We're very blessed in that in regards to our assignment. And so now it's a matter of walking faithfully, not being distracted by things that might be flying around, but also praying and asking the Lord to bring to light the things that are hidden in darkness. And so all of this has been a great challenge. Our community has really suffered, the IHOPKC community. Many people are caught in a whirlwind about it. There are a number of friends that we have that disagree with how leadership is handling it. And we don't necessarily agree with a lot of the ways it's been handled either. But there's a lot of people that, like us, are here because God said to come here and be a part of a prayer movement, not the person, not a certain way that it's done other than God breathing on 24-hour worship and prayer. And so please keep praying for us, us specifically, and our communities in that regard, that we would have unity in the Father, the same unity that Jesus talked about in John 17, where we would be in Jesus and he would be in us just to the same degree that he and the Father are one, and that whatever is hidden in darkness would be brought to light. And we do trust God to bring about the justice that he sees fit. And in the midst of this challenge, we are actually very encouraged that the Lord, he has spoken to us before, he's upholding us now, and he will continue to lead us in the things that he's called us to do in this little short time of life that we have. So now we want to tell you a little bit about the future, the year 2024, what we have to look forward to, what we feel like the Lord has been showing us. So fire away.
Yeah, so basically we're excited to build up our viewers and community on our YouTube channel as the Doulos Clan family. So we recently created different shows, so to speak, one being Coffee with Borin, where he just shares his...
It's empty.
For now, but where he shares just his thoughts, his conversations with the Lord while he enjoys a cup of coffee. And another show would be Sip and Sew with Ashley, and just my journey of sewing and dabbling in my creativity, along with sharing you testimonies and different things that I have.
Faith-building stories.
Yeah, faith-building stories, I would say, faith-building stories, and just my conversations with the Lord as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Make sure you subscribe so that you are, getting all of those episodes that come out, Coffee with Borin, Sip and Sew with Ashley, and other stuff that we'll be releasing.
Yes.
And you've also got some stuff with Rended Heart that you're looking forward to.
Yes. So this past year, I was starting to build an outreach team for Rended Heart. However, then we went to Alaska, so that got put on hold. But this coming year, for warmer weather, I am planning on building up an outreach team for Rended Heart and just sifting through all those details. So I'm really excited about that.
And lastly, I have a very exciting announcement, and we won't give much detail on it yet, but something we haven't gone public about that we're really looking forward to is we've been married for about 10 years, and our relationship started with us really singing scriptures together and creating songs and melodies.
Yes.
And over the past 10 plus years, we have actually stored up a lot of musical material that God has put on our hearts. And about a year ago, we started working on writing actual songs together to create an album. So the announcement is we're aiming to start recording that album in the next year. So please keep that in your prayers and stay tuned for future updates on that.
And we really want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos by giving them a thumbs up. You can even subscribe to our email list for newsletters, for updates, different things like that.
The link is in the description.
And please pray for us as we continue to walk out this journey.
That's right. We definitely need air support, as I call it, when it comes to prayers. And another way that you can help us continue in 2024 doing the ministry that God has called us to is to consider giving a tax-deductible gift. In the description below is the link for that as well. We are 100% funded by generous gifts from financial partners, and so this is how we're able to do full-time what we do for the kingdom.
Thank you again for your support and even tuning into our videos and engaging with us. We really, really enjoyed it. And a special thank you to the ones who have financially supported us throughout this year.
Now, we wish you a blessed rest of 2023 and an exciting entry to the next year, 2024. Merry Christmas from the Doulos Clan, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Bye!
Bye!